Okay, everyone. Well, here we go. It is 3 p.m. exactly Eastern Standard Time on September 28th. My little girl is 4 months exactly today. And so I want to make this, my goal is to keep it to 30 minutes, you guys. I know it's the end of the month and it's a busy season. And I just want to boom, hit it for 30 minutes, give you some good content and a little bit of inspiration for 30 minutes, and then we're going to be done, and you guys can continue on your day and make things happen as we wrap up this amazing month of September. But here's what I want to encourage you to do, is I know you're going to listen and hopefully take notes for the next 30 minutes. I want you, hopefully right now or throughout this 30-minute training, to book yourself for an appointment to strategize, think, plan, and goal set for the new quarter. We are entering into the second 90-day cycle. Can you believe that? 90 days is done, over, we'll never get it back again. And so now we are moving into the second 90-day cycle. And I believe it's so important to invest time in thinking, planning, strategizing, praying, journaling, goal setting, so that you're ready to rock for these next 90 days, because these are a crucial 90 days. And so, welcome, almost welcome to the second quarter. It officially starts, well, in the Mary Kay world, it started on September 16th, but in the, if you went by calendar months, we officially start the second 90-day cycle on October 1st. And this workbook, the 90 Days of Power workbook, was created to go in 90-day cycles, and that every 90 days you would set a new plan and have a new plan of execution for this new fresh 90-day cycle. Okay, that's how it's outlined. I know some of you have the workbook, you're familiar with it, some of you don't, so you can download it at leahlaughlin.com. It has its own page now, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So welcome to the second quarter. Here's what starts to happen around this time of year, especially sales directors. I want you to hear me on this, and I want you to really be super self-aware of the thoughts you're thinking right now, because here's what happens around the second quarter, is that people start deciding what is and is not possible on June 30th. July 1, everything seems possible. Anything seems achievable. October 1, people start mentally deciding, oh, that goal I set on July 1st, I'm too far away. I'm not on target. That's not possible anymore. And people start to throw in the towel on dreams and goals that you had and that you set 90 days ago. Okay, so check yourself, check your heart, check your mind. Are you still all in for the goal you set 90 days ago? And what would it take and what would it look like to be all in if you're not? What would have to change? Okay? Because we don't want to throw in the towel so early. Put blinders on the scoreboard right now, whether that's your newsletter or your In Touch. Put some blinders on and just pretend you're on target, you guys. If you're not on target for what you said you would do on July 1st, just pretend for a moment that you are on target and really guard your heart, my friends. Guard your heart from anything that would steal away hope and belief and confidence that it is possible and that what you set out to do this seminar year can still be done. Okay, surround yourself only with people who believe in that goal and dream, because it's way too early to make decisions about what is not possible at this point in the year. Okay, but it is time to reevaluate and re-clarify. We want to get clear again, and I think every 90 days is such a good time to do that. So you guys have heard of a plane's gyroscope, right? So when a plane leaves, let's say Los Angeles, heading to New York, it's going to fly all the way across the country, and that's a long distance to travel. And it's pretty amazing that it can leave one runway and then land exactly where it wants to land on another runway, thousands and thousands of miles away. Well, what keeps that plane on track is a gyroscope. It is this instrument that's in a plane that is constantly pulling the plane back on track. And did you know that the plane actually spends more time off course than it spends time on course? But thankfully for the gyroscope, it can still land where it wants to land and it intends to land. If a plane were only 1 degree off, 1 degree, it would land 250 miles away from its intended target if it was going from Los Angeles to New York City. Okay, that's a big distance for just 1 degree off. And so I believe the goal setting process is your gyroscope. The tracking systems that you use are your gyroscope. They keep pulling you back on track of where you want to be. You can even spend most of the year off track. That's okay. We all get off track. But what's pulling you back on track? What's helping you to refocus? What's keeping you clear? And I just believe, I'll take it to my grave, that goal setting and tracking are a big piece of that. Not the only piece, but it's a big piece of keeping us on track. So it's time to either fiercely stay on the path that you're already running down, or get back on track if you felt like you have left the path that you intended to be on. Okay, so the goal setting process, you guys, it is simple. You could teach children to do it. In fact, children do this, and it's easy for them. You set a goal, and then you set out to do that goal. It is a simple process, yet profound, because what makes it profound is the execution process. You guys, that is what can complicate goals. It's easy to make a decision. In fact, I believe decision making is way overrated. We hear that a lot in Mary Kay. Just make a decision. All it takes is a decision. And yes, that's the first step, but more importantly is managing that decision. Okay, so same with a goal. Just set a goal. Okay, yes, that's important, and that's the first step, but more importantly is executing on that goal. Okay, so the execution carries more value sometimes than even the goal does. And only motion creates change. How do you know what to do on a daily basis if you're not sure what goal you're going for, why you're going for it, and how to track it? Okay, we need to know on a daily basis what steps to take and what activity to do and what movement to create on a daily basis. And the goal setting process helps you to do that. I want to share 2 quotes that I have read recently. So, has it been a year? Maybe it's been 2 years. We did a Pacesetters called The One Thing, and we read the book The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And so during the Pacesetters, we had everybody hashtagging The One Thing. Well, that caught their attention, the authors of the book. And so Jay Papasan, I think, reached out to me on Twitter, and he's like, hey, what are you guys doing with The One Thing? And so I told him about our Pacesetters, and he's like, how can I help? And so he ended up doing a hangout with us, this little interview that we did about this book. And then someone on his staff asked me to be this, I'm a quote judge for a book that they write. And so every day I get these most amazing quotes, and I want to share some of them with you on this hangout. Here's one. Many a false step was made standing still. Isn't that good? Many a false step was made standing still. And so the goal setting process ideally is going to get you in motion, and not just in motion, but the right motion. Because here's the thing, in Mary Kay, as women and directors in Mary Kay and moms and wives, none of us are standing still. Like, I run around my house like all the time doing all kinds of things, and I'm sure you do too. We're busy women. We've got a lot on our plate, so we're not standing still. The question really is how purposeful are your steps? How purposeful are your actions? How intentional are they? Are they creating growth? Are they leading to the goals that you want them to lead to? Okay? Because we can so easily just go through the motions in the Mary Kay year, and all of a sudden a whole new seminar year passes by and we're not where we want to be. But we think back on the year and think, man, I worked so hard. I was so busy. I was constantly busy. I was constantly tired. And so what steps are you taking, and are they the right steps? Is it the right motion? Is it the right activity that you're doing? Here's another quote. The road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. And that's a Will Rogers quote. The road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. And I heard an analogy once of never land your plane. You know, it takes a plane so much fuel and energy to get up off the ground, but once it's cruising at 30,000 feet, it's easy, and it takes less fuel, less energy. Same with us. Once we can get that plane off the ground or get that car moving down the track, don't park it. Don't land it. We want to keep it going, because then it takes all this energy to like get it up again, get it flying again, or get it moving again. Okay, so once you get going, don't land your plane. Don't park your car. Stay in intentional motion. Okay, so right now, if you're a quick mental processor, we're just going to do this right now, and you can just think through it and write some notes down. If you take more time to mentally process, you might want to book an appointment with yourself when it's time to goal set to think through the very first quarter. Okay, July, August, and September, a couple days left, are going to be over soon, first 90 days. And so what went well for you in these first 90 days? Think back to July, August, and the most of this month of September. What went well? What was disappointing? Where did you shine and create growth? Where did you not see a lot of growth? And I would even encourage you to ask these questions to the key people in your unit for sales directors to reflect on and evaluate what happened in the first quarter. Not to beat ourselves up, not to focus on the past, but to use that information to guide us in an even more successful second quarter of the year. Page 53, guys, in the workbook of the second quarter, it is review and reflect. I've got it here in front of me right now, yeah. And so it's this little box right here that says review and reflect, and it just has some questions. And I'm often so surprised at how often I don't know if you've had this experience, but just kind of forget about things that are important to me, or forget about goals, or forget about what I set out to do, unless I am constantly looking at it, constantly reviewing it. And so we have this review and reflect section where you pick a day, a good day of the week, where you're looking over your goals again, where you're reviewing it. I know some people do it daily in a journal. There was a season when I was moving from top director to NSD. I looked at and prayed over my goals every day. They were in a journal that I like meditated on and prayed over, so that I was remembering it and it was staying in the forefront of my mind. Because oh my goodness, how easy it is to get distracted or to forget things that are even super, super important to us. Okay, so is reviewing and reflecting a part of your daily, weekly, or monthly routine? If not, how could it be? Or where could you put this review and reflect time into your schedule so that you're keeping it in the forefront of your mind? Another question in that section is, how can you visually keep your goal in front of you? Is it time for a new fresh goal poster? Do you need to put quotes or pictures or visual images in key places in your house or your car or your office or your bathroom to keep it visually in front of you? That visual stimulation is so, so powerful. Okay, so I'm going to briefly go through the workbook. Okay, we're on track, you guys. We're on track to get this done in 30 minutes. So let's go through the workbook. If you have it in front of you, it's helpful to look at it. If you do not have the workbook, that's okay. You can download it on my website. And we have gone through many systems to fix many glitches with getting this workbook to you, and I think we nailed it now. I think we're good. I think we're golden. But if you need any help with that, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you go to leahlaughlin.com, there's actually a page for the 90-day workbook. You can get it there. It's broken down into quarters, and there's also some tracking sheets available. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with section number 1, you guys, in the workbook, is just goal setting. And it's two full pages of questions. And they're just questions to get you thinking, to hopefully pull out your why, to get your mind and heart focused on what you really want out of your life and your Mary Kay business. Here's what I want to encourage you to do, is don't go back and look at July answers before you answer for your October 1st goal setting, or this second quarter goal setting. Just fill it out without looking back, which is what I did. I filled out the exact same questions. That's the thing. You filled these out 90 days ago. I filled out the exact same questions 90 days later. And then I looked back at what I wrote on July 1st. And it was interesting. It was interesting to see what stayed the same and what stayed consistent, almost like to the exact verbiage. Things have stayed the same with how I answered these questions. And then it's interesting to see how things have shifted and how priorities have changed a little bit. And so goal setting is sort of like journaling. We're constantly evolving and changing and growing and developing and being influenced by all kinds of things that even in 90 days, your priorities, your goals, your values can shift a little bit, or the focus can shift a little bit. So answer the questions first, and if you happen to do this in July, then go back and look and see where you notice the consistency or maybe some contrasting differences with your answers. And so that is section 1. It's just questions to get you thinking, questions to get you focused on what you really want out of your life and your business. And then that moves into writing your 50 reasons for why you want your main goal, your one, whether it's a seminar goal or not, but it's like the one goal that you want to work towards. The one thing that you could be able to say, like, this was the best seminar year ever because this thing happened. You want to write 50 reasons why you want to see it happen. And guys, the same thing for the 50 reasons. Write them fresh without looking back. Again, you're going to notice some consistency and you're going to notice a little bit of change. Going through that process takes time. You guys, it's an investment of time. But I think it's even like therapeutic for your mind and your heart and your soul to just ponder upon and think upon what you want out of your life and your business, and getting really clear, because you cannot pursue that which you do not know what you want or what you want to pursue. Okay, we've got to have crystal clarity on these things, and these questions in your 50 reasons help you to get there. Okay, so then section number 3 of the workbook is this number crunching section. This is probably the most tedious section because you really have to think through your numbers and look up where you're at. On July 1st, we were all at 0. So all you had to put was like 0, 0, 0 because it was the first day of the seminar year. Well, now numbers have happened over these 90 days. And so you're going to have to look up some reports. What's your year-to-date retail? How many qualifieds do you have in? What's your year-to-date personal retail and unit retail? How many recruits are in so far? How many stars have you added? You got to go through and look these things up and get your current numbers down, and then figure out what it takes to finish the goal and finish with the number you want to finish with on June 30th. And so it's going to take some brain power to figure that out. And then the next step is to boil it down to daily activity. And I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about it right now. When I was a top director, I was in this 6-month window of finishing our national area. And it was around that time that I hired a coach from the Brandon Barber coaching group. I had a one-on-one coach, and we had these coaching sessions, I think like twice a month on the phone. And so I remember one coaching session so clearly because he asked me, what do you need to do daily to ensure that you'll finish your national area on the date you said you wanted to? And you guys, I was stumped. I was like, whoa, I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, I was literally stumped. And I was, even at that point, that was 5-6 years ago, I was the queen of daily consistency. Like, I had my day planned out, my day design, my week design. I mean, I was like the daily consistency girl at that time. And he asked me, what do you daily need to do to finish NSD? And I literally didn't know how to answer the question. I had to say, I need to get back to you. I need to think about it because I don't know, like, really specifically. Now, I was doing things every day to create growth, but I didn't know a direct, concrete answer to that question. And so I went back and just spent time crunching numbers and thinking it through. And what it boiled down to for us is we had to finish a certain number of directors, had to move up to the director position, and mainly from my unit to develop first line. And so I knew how many people I needed to be in front of to add a certain number of new people. And I knew how many new people we needed to add to help a certain number of directors wrap up DIQ. And so what I boiled it down to was how many people I needed to be in front of daily to add the new recruits we needed to add to support the directors who needed to finish, to support them in finishing. by growing their teams and their units. And so that's what it boiled down to for me. And I just want to encourage you that, you know, you could have asked that same question to 100 NSDs and you might get different answers. So my answer doesn't have to be your answer. It doesn't necessarily have to, you don't have to track how many people you were in front of. That just happened to be my thing. It was like my focus. But the point of the story is that the value, the incredible value of having a clear daily focus of what you need to do every day. You guys, it is emotionally supportive, because then when you do that thing you needed to do every day to create growth, it just gives you this peace inside that you know you're doing what you need to do. I mean, there's nothing worse than like wondering, like, am I even really doing what I need to do to create growth? Like, I don't even know. Like, that uncertainty creates anxiety. It creates a lack of confidence in yourself and in how you're planning your day and how you're executing and creating growth in your business. And so having that clarity of like, I need to do this every day, and I trust and believe that this is going to create results. And so here's the thing is, even on days I did that, not every day did it look like things were growing. Okay, so I did my daily thing. But I would say majority of the days in the seminar year, it didn't look like a whole lot was happening. I was like, oh, well, we finished another day. Okay, well, I don't see magic happening right now, but I'm just going to stay the course. I'm going to stay consistent. And there were the magical days when it looked like things were blowing up. Those are just a few days of the seminar year. Majority of the days were just normal, mundane days where I was consistently working my business without seeing a whole lot of magic happen. And that trips people up mentally, okay? Because we like to see the magic happen. We like to see the momentum flowing and the energy flowing, but it's not always flowing. But that doesn't mean things aren't happening. A lot in our business happens under the surface and then explodes. And then it happens under the surface and then it explodes. And so all that under the surface stuff comes from just daily consistency. Okay, you don't see the magic, but the magic is there. It's boiling under the surface, you guys. And it takes a world-class leader to work and remain consistent, clear, and focused, even when the magic is not happening, but things are boiling under the surface. Okay, so let's have that kind of clarity and focus that we will choose to work anyways, even on days we don't see it happening. Okay, that's such an important mindset and muscle to develop. Okay, so that's what the number crunching section, the most tedious section, I just think the most brain power you have to give to this section is to figure out your numbers and figure out the daily activity it takes. Like, I should be able to call you up and ask you, hey, Charlotte, tell me what daily needs to happen in your business to finish your goal by the end of the month or the end of the seminar year. And then you would need to be able to reply, I need to do X, Y, and Z on a daily basis to produce growth. Hey, Lisa, hey, Amy, hey, Linda, hey, Victoria, I should be able to call you up once you've done this and ask you, what do you need to do daily to finish your goal? And I expect to hear a very clear answer after you've gone through this workbook, my friends. Okay, so let's move on to the next section. Next section is your 90-day communication strategy with your unit. Consultants who are on here, you can break this communication strategy down with your team. And you can also do it with your customer base, because as a consultant, your customers are your customers. As a director, your customers are your customers, but your customers are also your consultants. And then as an NSD, your customers are your customers, your consultants, and your sales directors. Okay, so your customer base in Mary Kay just expands as you move up the career path. And so I've always had this unit communication strategy where certain days of the week, I would communicate about different programs. And this just helped me to stay on track. And really what this came from as a new director, I just felt that what I call oh crap feeling way too many times. And I'm like, this oh crap feeling needs to stop. And the oh crap feeling came when, let me give you an example. Maybe it was the end of the quarter and the STAR program is wrapping up and we have 2 weeks left. And all of a sudden I look at my report and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to promote that. I forgot to call people about it. And I forgot to coach my consultants. Like, oh crap, I forgot to do that. Or I wasn't on it like I could have been or should have been. And so I hated that feeling, and I had that way too much as a new director, and I'm like, okay, I need to like figure this out. And so my solution, it doesn't have to be your solution, but for me, my solution was just a unit communication strategy where on Monday, and I'll share it with you, my current one, it's changed over the years, but on Mondays, I do NCFU. That's what it says on my calendar. NCFU is New Consultant Follow-Up, NCFU. And so I'm following up with all my new people based on my new consultant tracking, and I'm sending a reminder that Power Program consistency numbers are due, and I'm touching base with key people. Okay, so that's what I do on Mondays. Tuesday, I do Power Program follow-up and recognition because everybody reported their numbers Monday night, and so I want to do some follow-up and communication and recognition around that and focus on the Power Program, and maybe check and see like who didn't report their numbers. I want to check in with them and see what's going on, because I know she told me that Power 6 was her goal. Okay, so I'm doing that kind of communication. Wednesday, I'm doing Star Consultant follow-up. On Thursdays, I do one-on-one coaching to move people up, and I do another day of NCFU, New Consultant follow-up. And then on Friday, I do event campaigning. That's my current communication strategy, and it changes over the months and the years, but that's basically what I invest time in to avoid that oh crap feeling. Like, okay, so we have fall advance coming up soon. Too many times I would approach an event and then all of a sudden realize like I hadn't really called anybody about it. I hadn't really talked to anybody. I'm like, oh crap, I should have been talking about this more. Okay, so we want to avoid that, and a unit communication system and strategy helps you to do that. So what would work for you? When can you invest time in communicating about these programs? Because these, for me, these are all core programs that build my unit and support people in building their business. Following up with new people, talking about the Power Program, talking about the Star Consultant Program, getting people to events, coaching my people one-on-one. Those are core programs in my unit that create growth in my business and create growth in the businesses of the people I am supporting. So what are they for you? What are your core programs or your core communication systems that can create growth? So you want to outline that out. And once you put it there on the sheet, then you have to like plug it into your calendar. So it goes there, but then you have to move the information over into each week in the quarter. Okay, key behaviors, that's step 4. So I learned this, you guys, oh man, okay. We're getting really close to 30 minutes. I'm like, I gotta keep this brief for them because it's way too close to the end of a really strong month. But I'm just gonna keep on going, you guys. I'm approaching the finish line, but we're gonna go a little bit over 30 minutes. So key behaviors. Learned this from the book, The Power of the Habit, or The Power of Habit. And I learned this from the book, Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and this massive transformation formula that he teaches. And just to, I could train you for an hour on this and talk about this for an hour. So I'm going to make an hour-long training in like 1 minute. Is the power of small daily wins and the power of little baby micro choices that when you do them over time, they equal this massive growth and transformation. That's the compound effect. Is that small little micro decisions that seem insignificant, that don't seem to create any movement or action, when you add them up over time, they're life-changing. They're momentum building. They're transforming. So read The Compound Effect to learn more about that. Michael Phelps mastered this. There's a story about him in The Power of Habit in the book about how he was just so masterful at the concept of small daily wins. Like everything he did was designed to create a win, and all these little wins gave him this, he just lived a sense of victory, which then led him to be the champion athlete that he is. So anyways, it's a powerful, powerful concept about using key behaviors or just daily activity and choices to create habits that create massive momentum in your life. I first learned about this concept, you guys, the first time I ever implemented this idea, like very intentionally, was after I had Aria. She was baby number 2 for me. And I was just out of shape and not feeling great about myself and not feeling strong and healthy. And so I'm like, I'm going to get in shape. But I knew I couldn't go to like P90 and Insanity and those other workout programs that I was used to doing before I started having babies. Just something happens with your body that I wasn't prepared for that. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to apply the compound effect. And I'm just going to do these like small little baby choices and let them build on each other. I'm just going to do it consistently, and we'll see if it leads to, you know, the results that I want. And so that's what I did. And I started with this workout. You guys, it was the dumbest, most lame workout. I barely broke a sweat. I didn't break a sweat. It took me 5 minutes, and it was 3 1-minute planks and 3 sets of 10 push-ups. And I just did it. And I started off just doing it 3 days a week. And so I didn't see any results right away. I was kind of even laughing at myself for even like investing time in that, thinking that it might eventually lead to results. I wasn't sure. I had never tried that before, but I did it. And then I built up to 5 days a week. And then the next month I added a little something else. And then I added something else. 6 months later, you guys, I was back in the shape that I felt like I was before I had kids. And it really, I saw the compound effect in real life. Like I saw it play out, and I was amazed. I was amazed at the simplicity of it and the daily win and the sense of victory it gave me, even in the beginning when I wasn't seeing results, and the massive momentum that picked up on the end, not in the beginning, on the end of doing it consistently and letting the compound effect play out. So anyways, we could spend a lot of time here, but it's just something I've just learned to truly believe in, that small daily wins lead to anything that you want in life, anything. And so it helps you in the key behaviors identify what those little daily wins, those key behaviors, those habits you want to develop into your life. It helps you identify what they are, and then you track them on the 15-day tracking sheet. You track the days that you do your key behaviors. Okay, next section, my friends. Next section is, there's a page for unit stars, to track your unit stars and to track the people who you think could be a star in the second quarter that we have. I have a Voxer series on how to build unit stars. It's in my Voxer vault at leahlaughlin.com. It pretty comprehensively covers the Star Consultant program and how to build a solid Star Consultant program in your unit. And this just gives you a little place to track the stars in your unit. Okay, so I want to touch on Sunday planning, and then we're going to wrap it up with a little bit of visualization, okay? So Sunday planning, you guys, this was a new addition to the this workbook, okay? And I have it in this workbook. I also have it in another brain book that I do. And so I did learn this from Darren Hardy, and it's taken me a while to really master the concept, and it's been super powerful for me. So I don't know, some of you may have used it in the first quarter, but I just want to go into it a little bit more. Because Sunday planning is like the bomb. So what you do with Sunday planning, you guys, is you identify your top 3 big goals. Your top 1, 2, or 3. It could just be one goal for you, and it can be no more than 3. Because really, if you have more than 3, it's a distraction. So you want to have your top 1, 2, or 3 goals for your Mary Kay business. And what Sunday planning, or Monday morning, whatever day of the week you want to do it, doesn't matter. But it's one day of the week where what I do is a brain dump. And I actually brain dump on the blank piece of paper. You see the blank piece of paper by the Sunday planning in the workbook? That's where I would brain dump. And I don't think I really effectively trained on that in our first hangout. And you literally just dump it all out on one piece of paper. Everything that you have coming up that week, what you need to do, what you need to get done, what's on your mind, you just get it out on paper. Then you look at that brain dumped list, and then the goal is that you're matching it up with your top 3 goals. And you're putting the things you need to do in the boxes of those goals. And the idea is that the things you need to do would actually fall into moving you forward with your goals. Now, when I first started doing this, what I found was that I had all these things to do that had no direct correlation or impact on the goals I was actually working towards. And I'm talking about things you do within like your blocked out time of working your Mary Kay business. Okay, I'm not talking about just life. I'm talking about, okay, when you have this chunk of time to work your Mary Kay business, what are those things you need to do? That's what you're brain dumping. And those are the things you're trying to line up with your goals. And so I would take them and I would say, okay, booking calls. Yep, that contributes to my goal to be a Cadillac unit or whatever your goal is. Coaching calls. Yep, that fits under this goal. Wait, create a pic collage image to recognize star consultants. Wait a minute. Yes, important, but that is delegatable. And that's when you need to realize it. You need to realize that on your brain dump list, you have this thing you need to do that, yes, important. You need to recognize your stars, but you need to recognize, wait a minute, I can delegate that. Or wait a minute, that doesn't really impact my top 3 goals. So I either need to cross that off the list, delegate it, or just wait to do it. Here's another example of things you'll realize is any non-people stuff, you guys, you want to do before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. There may be a project or a new system you want to implement that's important. Maybe only you can think through it and do it, but you're not putting that in your valuable chunk of time during the day that you could be giving to people. Because that's what our business is about, is people, adding value, being in front of people. So let's say you want to update your new consultant welcome packet and you want to think through that. Man, that's a before 9 or after 9 activity. That is not during the times where you make it rain for your business and your unit. You do it before 9 or after 9. And so the brain dump helps you to identify, yes, this activity supports my goals. No, this activity does not. What do I do with this activity that does not support my goal? Do I delegate it? Do I just cross it off the list? Do I wait? Do I do it before 9 or after 9? See how awesome that Sunday planning is? It just brings clarity to the to-do list so that as you go through your beautifully designed week, you know you're investing in the things that are actually creating growth versus just being busy. That makes me tired, just being busy. It gives me energy and it exhilarates me to be busy doing things that I know are creating growth for me and growth for other people. Okay? So Sunday planning, it's become a tool that I just love, just totally love, and has greatly impacted my productivity and my focus. Okay? So Sunday planning. Okay, so I want to encourage you, set an appointment with yourself to go through this. And then once you have the plan, you guys, then it's just time to work. It's time to like roll up your sleeves and get to work. Here's another quote I want to share with you. You cannot have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. You cannot have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. Once you create your plan tells you what to do, and then you just go work. And you crank it out for another 90 days to create growth and add value to the people in your life and in your business. So let me finish with some visualization. I've done this activity with a lot of different groups on different calls, on different pace setters. I've done it live and on video. And so some of you may have gone through this before, but I think it's so important on a regular basis, possibly even a daily basis, to meditate upon and visualize your significant vision in your life and what that looks like to achieve it and what that means to you. So we're going to take just 2 minutes and we're going to do that. And my goal in doing this is that it would help you to paint a picture and get very clear on your vision, but to put maybe more concrete images to it. Sometimes we have a vision and it can be very like stuck in our brain and very abstract and very ambiguous. And I just want you to put like concrete like colors to it and images and people and words to that vision. We want to bring it to life a little bit more than it may be at this time. And so right now, if you can, I want you to just take a deep breath. I want you to put your pen down if you can. If you're driving, if you could pull over right now on the side of the road, that would be great. And I just want you to quiet your heart for a minute. Take a couple deep breaths. And if you can, and if you're in a place where it would be safe to do, go ahead and close your eyes. And right now in your mind, I want you to imagine that you have achieved your significant vision. Imagine that it's done. Imagine that you've been victorious and have completed that. Imagine yourself at your highest and your best. Like you at the best version of you doing what you were created to do. Paint a picture of what that looks like. Paint a picture of who who you look like at your highest and your best. Okay, and I'm going to slowly ask you questions so you can paint a picture in your mind of this significant vision. So I want you to just put colors to it and people to it and take it from the abstract and make it real in your mind, okay? So you have achieved your significant vision. Where are you? Who are you with? What do they look like? What do you look like? What are they saying about you? What are you saying? What's the look on your face? How do you walk into a room? How do you show up for people? How has achieving this vision impacted your family? What can you now say yes to that you are currently saying no to? What example or legacy would this leave for your family? So go ahead and open your eyes, and whatever you just pictured in your mind, I want you to make it concrete in some way. Whether through goal posters or through writing in a journal of what you saw in your mind, I want you to make it concrete. Pull it out of your mind and heart and put it on paper. Something you can see, something you can read, because you must be able to imagine it and see it and visualize it before you will ever achieve it. It's imagined in your mind 1,000 times before it's realized in reality. And so I want you to be clear on that picture, and if you even need more time to clarify what that picture looks like, invest time doing that and keep it in front of you on a daily basis. You know, when the question is asked, you know, who are you with? What do they look like? What are they saying about you? What's the expression on their face? Every time I picture a few things, but I picture my kids and their like shining faces and the smiles they would have to share with them that I finished a goal that I'm working on, and the excitement that they would have and the questions that they would have. So who are those people for you? Who's going to be there? What's their face going to look like? What are they going to be saying about you? How will you celebrate with them? Okay, we've got to make that concrete and be able to visualize that in a real way, because it ignites our hearts and ignites our passion. And when we are women of passion and influence, things happen. And things unfold and growth happens. Okay? So, my friends, I hope you have booked an appointment with yourself to think, plan, strategize, goal set, pray, journal about this second quarter that we're entering into. May it be blessed. May God's favor and abundance just be poured out upon you and your business and your family. All right. I love you guys. We were 13 minutes over. Not too bad, huh? All right. Love you guys. Have a powerful day and a powerful finish to September.